Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back once again to the StarLadder StarSeries Season 14, coming to the closing portions of our online stages now. We go into Team EnVyUS versus Team Dignitas. My name is Blue, and for the first time in a while, I'm not alone. I've got Metas joining me today. How you doing, man?
I'm great. Thanks a lot for getting me involved. Definitely looking forward to this match. A match that I think will be a lot closer than a lot of people will give Dignitas credit for. Their results recently have been pretty solid. Cobblestone in particular is a map that they do really good work on. They recently beat Fnatic and Virtus.pro on this map, but it's EnVyUS, right? They're one of the best teams when it comes to Cobblestone. This could go the distance. I could see this going maybe even down to a third map, which I think is Mirage.
Yeah. And of course, it is going to start off here on Cobblestone. Going over to the second map will be Train, and for our third map is going to be on Mirage, as we've already mentioned there before. And that could make for a very interesting set, because you've got two of the sort of newer maps in the rotation being brought into the pool, which could definitely throw things off. And it's actually a bit doubtful for Envy, too, because out of all the 7 maps, the 4 of the bottom, 3 out of 4 of those maps are the 3 in this set right now. So it is looking at a little bit towards the middle portion to the lower portion in the map win ratio here for the members of EnVyUS. So it's not necessarily just going to be a clear-cut set in favor of these guys just as of yet.
Absolutely not. And I think the way EnVyUS has been playing recently hasn't been setting the world on fire for me. When I was casting them a couple of days ago, they lost against Titan and also Na'Vi in the same night. Although it should be mentioned that Happy was having internet issues and Maniac came into play for him. The Maniac played very well. But of course, Happy is a pretty much a guiding light for EnVyUS. If he's not playing, they definitely do struggle. So I don't think you can necessarily take those results as, you know, gospel truth that EnVyUS is struggling a tiny bit right now. But even when he was playing, there just something wasn't clicking. So I think EnVyUS, this is probably as good a chance as Dignitas are going to have to maybe dethrone them today.
And we're going to get started right now with the pistol round, guys. EnVyUS jumping onto the T side. Team Dignitas on CT. Already seeing a lot of EnVyUS players stacking up here just outside of the broken wall hallway approach here, too. But Dignitas are going to be ready for this with the usual setup. They spot some of it coming in, but RUBINO going to be hit heavily. And the trades begin as the players now jump down from broken wall. Happy finding his way outside of drop there through the window, too. Gets into a pretty long battle, which still is actually not concluded. NBK jumps in, finds that frag on a config, but Kjaerbye did manage to take out Happy at the same time, eventually taking him down. So it's left down to a 3 versus 2. Envy should be able to sneak the plant, but NBK getting greedy. He wants that kill on MSL. He's going to grab it, and Kenny getting another one on the tenzki to take him down. Now it's just Kjaerbye sitting here behind the wall. They're both going to push him, but Kjærbye picks up the first kill. Thankfully, Kenny responds, takes him back, but that could have gone a completely different direction with those shots coming out from Kjaerbye.
Absolutely could have. There was 3 or 4 moments in that round where the ebbs and the flows went from Dignitas back to EnVyUS back to Dignitas again, and Kenny S just stepping up big at the end just to secure himself that frag. NBK landed a sick one-tap as well. Picked up the USP from one of the CT's corpses, and, well, there we go. EnVyUS pick up the first round. They're going to bag themselves 4 SMGs and a scout. You'll see a lot of teams on the T side will go for AKs in this kind of situation, but I like the SMGs. It allows us to get up in the face of Dignitas and just trying to wreck those pistol Kevlar force buys.
I just connected from the server, so trying to get ourselves back into it, and we are. So we'll get right back into the, I think, the match now.
Yeah.
I'm stuck on a smoke, I think. There we go. What the
Haven't
hell
missed
is
too
my
much, really.
Go TV doing, dude?
I had so many bugs the other day, man. It kept crashing. I had sound problems. Everything was going wrong, but needless to say, right now, it's a 1-4 trade. A lot of players are low on the server, though. EnVyUS have lost a lot of HP and put kioShiMa down into the silence bin as MSL just peeks around the corner with a CZ. Make short work of him. 2-1-3 now. And EnVyUS is forced by if SMGs with that scout doesn't seem to be working as well as they're hoping for. NBK with a jump shot. And it's going to bring us back into equality, and that should also finalize the plan. Are you back in the server, good sir?
I am, but my GoTV
Awesome.
won't come out of third person. It won't come into first person, so we have to watch at least this round in first person. So Kjaerby's gonna be the last one left alive in a 2 versus 1. He's trying to sneak himself inside of Shed right now, but I think NBK's got a pretty good lineup to shut him down. And then of course Kenny's gonna come out, but Kjaerbye picks up this kill, moving in for another one, but thankfully NBK's there. Shuts him down with a headshot on the scout, and that takes him down. So let's retry my connection now.
Alright. Well, I guess in this sense, you're really not going to miss a great deal as Dignitas will be tapping out now. This should be an eco round, as of course they forced in the last one, but they picked up 4 kills, and that could potentially bait them into another force. You know, we can probably break the EnVyUS economy, but they're playing it smart, they're playing it safe instead. Just Kjærbye has himself Kevlar behind the CZ, the rest of the players with USPs, so pretty much a full-on save.
Metas, I'm going to need you to radio cast for like 2 rounds, because like I can't even open up the console right now.
Let's do it, mate. Let's go TV's
right,
real case.
I gotta close the console and I gotta close the client and reopen it.
Yeah, it is. It is the worst thing. So, radio broadcast. EnVyUS currently pushing up long A. There is a player from the CTs in mid, which is MSL, who's watching for danger. The problem is that he's trying to hold the close angle because he only has a USP, and of course, the chance of getting any quick frags very slim. There's full head armor for EnVyUS. They're going to be playing this one slowly, just feeling out each side of the map and trying to poke and probe Dignitas. No early frags have gone down. There's about 55 seconds left on the timer. And Happy's just landed himself a knife. He gets round the back of Kjærbye, who's on the pillar in mid. And he just makes the most of that drop zone push. So Happy's now going to land himself the second frag. The bomb will be planted. And this will be EnVyUS's. The CZ, the only CZ in play, has been picked off. And that is going to be a 3-0. As the bomb is planted over on the B side. How's the console? How's the game working for you?
Almost there.
Sweet.
As the chat melts down. Alright, I think we're good.
Yeah, you should have seen it the other day, man. I had like GoTV crashes out the neck. Chat was getting the pitchforks out. I was scared for my life.
So everybody in the chat is like, spam spacebar, spam spacebar. I was. It wasn't working. I think the client bugged me to hold the alt key down, and it was like I was stuck on like third person because of that or something, and it wasn't undoing it. So I tried the normal things, guys. Sometimes GoTV just craps its pants, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I had to reset the console.
I can definitely confirm that. I'll back Blue up. GoTV has some of the weirdest issues you're ever going to see in any game ever. But it's a small price to pay for how fantastic CS is.
So we go into the first gun run. You guys only missed anti-eco rounds. You didn't miss anything interesting, and NV3 did anyway. So we'll go into the first gun round. The most interesting thing about the buy here is that NBK has actually chosen to stick with the scout for now to try and save a little bit of cash. But on the way in, as these guys try to press their way back through a long approach, they're getting ripped apart here just in terms of damage. I think Dignitas are doing a great job of holding that back for the time being.
Yeah, kind of reminiscent to the last round as well, where they were playing quite slow to start off with. And a very similar setup as well. But MSL catches Apex as he throws his HE towards the door. And that's a pretty crucial frag. It alleviates a lot of the pressure. And with Dignitas having very few grenades, kills really is what you're looking for at the start. Happy's been caught, only will lose about half of his HP though. And here comes the execute onto long stables from EnVyUS as Kenny lands the kill.
Kjærbye just trying to look to clean up these players, pushing out through A long. Kenny did find a way over here into the alley, but unfortunately now he's going to be alone, and they're just going to try to rip him apart at this point. Picking up one kill, he spots a player back over here on the balcony too, but now Kjærbye's going to jump up, looking to take him down, and that only acts as a distraction. Gets config into a good position, and they shut him out to give Dignitas the first gun round.
Yeah, I can't stress enough how important that first kill, which was just purely timing, MSL peeking, catching Apex with his pants down. And as soon as they get that first kill, they can start to back away from the site. They can allow themselves crossfires instead of trying to get the flashes and the smokes in which they simply were running out of. But, of course, because EnVyUS have the 3-0, because they're the T side, they're right back to the drawing board. And here we go. AWP in play for Kenny S. Full AK-47s, pretty much full grenades as well.
Again, Apex trying to find a way there. Might have spotted the player in suicide steps, and if not, just wildfiring right now. Looking to see if he could get some damage onto MSL. Doesn't spot him there, but NBK trying to push through. Gets tripped up on something. Thankfully, he'll still be able to pick up that initial kill over here on a tenzki now. And NBK pressing through. Now he'll get a chance to take one down. He takes out MSL, but Kjærbye's good on the response coming out there through CT main. Finds the trade kill over there onto NBK. And still keeps 3 players up from Dignitas alive. But they're slowing that rotate, so they're just going to line up for the op shots now coming out from Kenny. Picking up a first one. He's trying to respond on Kjærbye's end to take down Kenny, but he's going to get mollied back out of balcony. And these final 2 from Dignitas, they have no choice. They've got to fall back and save, but they can't even do this as Happy's pressing into them. Picking up the first one and the second one. He just cleans things up and strikes right back for EnVyUS.
Yeah, hit the nail on the head there. Dignitas were kind of caught in 2 minds. Do we go? Do we stay? Do we fully commit to this defense? Do we just back off? They get caught, and then Happy just uses his brain, just pure game sense, getting into the right position, catches both of them on the rotation, and those 2 weapons would have been huge for Dignitas. They're still going to go for like this half buy. MSL has Kevlar and a Deagle, so he's down to $1,000. You can see how much that hurts that they weren't able to save those 2 M4s.
So again, from the members of Team EnVyUS, pretty much lining up the same type of opener here as they move quite a few players back over here inside of the mid connector. MSL is going to try to challenge that right from the get-go by going inside of the suicide steps, but he's taken down pretty quickly. They do find a couple of these players here, but again, this happens so early in the round, they can't really react to this. Happy, though, gets challenged, sitting up on top of drop right now. He's going to spot both Kjærbye along with Config sitting inside of here, but unfortunately still being challenged by both of them. Happy does eventually have to give way to that and fall away, because now he's down at 9 HP. Can't really do much about that, and the rest of the take is now going to start back over here on the B site.
Yeah, Dignitas almost forced into going for very risky peaks, being on the basis of their economy and their lack of weaponry. And this should just be clean up on aisle 2 for EnVyUS. I would be surprised if tenzki can get anything done here. He's got a deagle. There's a couple of players who are around the low margins on HP, but for him to get more than 1 kill would be a miraculous performance from him. EnVyUS will take their 5th round and are starting to cruise towards where they're going to be happy with. tenzki isn't going to get anything done. kioShiMa takes him out, and EnVyUS also keep all 5 players alive. So you can see there already their economy starts to boom. A few players over 6k or close to it.
And that's a good attempt from Dignitas to try and hold some of the hotspots back over on the B site, specifically back in drop and whatnot. They do a good job of trying to push back Happy over in that direction. The problem is, again, is that Broken Wall with the guns they have in that round, just not enough pressure they can place on that to hold back a take from there. And actually, it's sort of their own fault, too, that Broken Wall even gets pressured in the first place, because EnVyUS, they actually get pushed away from the mid-connector after they kill MSL, and they were just prompted into a push from there, which for the most part is really undefended, so it's a pretty simple take from that point forward. This time, though, they try to get aggressive with it. Doesn't start off too well, but tenzki finding a trade kill. Apex gonna drop down, get some really nice spray control, finishes off like 1.5 players, and then Keo comes in to take down tenzki. This round's already done too. It's just down to MSL trying to work a flank, but he's given EnVyUS way too much time to get into post plants, and they more than likely will find him before he can do any damage.
Absolutely. Very intelligent read as well from EnVyUS. A good call to realize the economy was battered and bruised from Dignitas. So no frill CS, didn't go too crazy, just very straightforward, efficient execute. You could see, as you mentioned at the time, Blue, they went for this very aggressive play from Dignitas' point of view, but really that's all they could do. Purely on the basis that they had no weapons, they had no grenades. Just see if you catch a couple of EnVyUS as they're trying to flash up there or smoke over, and maybe you can pick yourself up a weapon and things quickly turn in your favor. Either way, though, EnVyUS do take the 6-1 lead. Here comes the buy from Dignitas. It's not fantastic, though. I don't think they'll have an AWP unless they want to go glass cannons. So they're not going to have an AWP on Cobblestone. They're going to have to play the close angles, try and get those crossfires down, and that's going to allow Kenny S to maybe shine here.
And EnVyUS have also been going for these big sort of explosion plays in a couple of these rounds, just working out either towards drop or broken wall. They've only got one real molly to stop that, and that's already been used here to try and hold back the drop push, so they're not really going to have any big amounts of utility to try and push back any sort of aggressive movement from EnVyUS besides maybe smokes, and I don't really think those are going to keep them placed that far back. But RUBINO going big there, jumped up on top by the pickup tree. He's going to find both NBK and Kjaerbye. Moving on, actually saved his teammate for an extra second, but then you're going to see Kenny coming in, finds the op shot. tenzki now on the rotate, takes down Happy as he jumps outside of the window before he can do any more damage. Now, however, it's just Kenny, but look at all the movement he's being given here, sneaking around these players. He doesn't necessarily spot. Just to his left over there is going to be Kjaerbye, but I don't think Kjaerbye notices Kenny either. He should have seen him, though, in the corner, and now they're both going to be able to peek out, take him out before he can do anything else, and that will be a second round now coming out for Dignitas.
Yeah, I definitely don't envy Kenny's position there in a 1 versus 2. He knew where both the players were. He at least knew they wouldn't be coming around the back from the B hall to B long. The issue is, though, you could see him constantly looking over towards the concrete slab, worried in case one pushes out drop. He didn't want to go for the fakes. He'll get caught out with the AWP, but they won't push him at the same time. So he was hoping that one of them made a mistake. They didn't. Dignitas played that one to perfection. And now, although EnVyUS will have weapons again, we are now having MSL with an AWP, and he needs to make this one work. If EnVyUS were to just crack the economy again from Dignitas, this could become a horror show for Dignitas, but there we go, MSL with the first frag.
And again, now they're going to try to push up the suicide steps. At least Apex will be looking to maybe do this. That nade bounces, doesn't necessarily connect, but tenzki's still lined up for the shots. Going to be able to take down Apex and eliminating him now. See the rest of EnVyUS maybe trying to find a way to push themselves out Broken Wall and draw those rotations, but with all the action the members of Dignitas have had over here, not going to be likely. And then MSL, perfect shot, lines it up on NBK. The bomb goes onto the ground, and these final two from EnVyUS, unfortunately, not going to have a whole lot they can do.
Yeah, this is as perfect a round as Dignitas could have hoped for, and at the perfect time as well. It may not be enough in the grand scheme of things, but this gives them a platform now to build off. If they can go through this round without losing a single player, perfection. And that's exactly what's going to happen. So they keep themselves the AWP. They didn't even use all their grenades either that round. And you can see that even after getting that perfect, flawless round, their economy still isn't great. So that was how important that round was for Dignitas. EnVyUS come right back in with AKs, plenty of grenades as well. And another rifle round that Dignitas desperately need to hold on to.
And again, now taking a look at where exactly EnVyUS are going to play it this time. Been a little varied. It's actually, I take that back. It hasn't really been super varied as of yet on this T side. This is part of the reason why we've now seen Dignitas able to strike back, because it's been one of the two main pushes coming out from EnVyUS. MSL in the meantime also connecting a very good shot, but it's basically traded evenly back onto him because of all the fire that comes through the door. And now this is going to leave both members with at least one player that basically has to stay out of combat for the rest of this entire round. It'll be Kenny down at 17 HP over here for EnVyUS, and ironically enough, the Opper from the CT side too is going to be affected by this. MSL is down to 15 HP.
Decent enough start for Dignitas. The problem is, though, that they're going to have to start to get a move on through mid if they want that information. But here comes the flashbang. RUBINO's in perfect position. 2 spray down frags. He's looking for a third as well. He spins around, but still lands it. Lovely individual play. Happy comes down drop. There's really nothing he can do. RUBINO's hungry for another one. He's not going to get it done, and now suddenly Happy brings back 2 frags. He's still got 45 seconds, and most of his HP intact, and MSL's missed that shot. That could be very costly indeed. Thankfully, or not, tenzki.
Yeah, tenzki lines up the final shot that's needed there to shut down Happy. We do see Dignitas scavenging that before Happy can get away with too much of an advantage there in that round. And this should finally break the money side of things here for the T side now. We're not really going to see too big of an investment. Happy should be able to invest into an AK if he wants to, and in fact he is. But for the rest of this team, we're just going to see a couple of upgraded pistols, Tech 9 armor for Apex, Deagle armor for NBK, and then just a P250 armor for Kenny, and Kyo just goes for just the Deagle in itself. So pretty light this time from EnVyUS, which is giving another chance now for Dignitas to get back into this, but Config taking a little bit of a risk there going up against Kyo. Gets some good damage back over there onto Config, but ultimately has to fall away from that. Only trading a little bit of damage back onto the T's.
One of the terrifying things about EnVyUS is even in these kind of rounds, they're still so individually talented and so good with aim that these Deagles can still be the difference maker. But MSL relocates to the back of the site, allowing his AWP to run to its highest amount of strength and its most use, and that's exactly what he's doing right now. 3 frags, and he knows where that 4th player is. That's vital information. kioShiMa, last remaining terrorist, is going to pick up the first in this 1 versus 3, but that's all. And now EnVyUS may have to tap out. They do have a lot of round loss bonus coming in, so I'd be curious to see what their economy is like. Okay, there's a half buy, so they can easily buy back up again with AKs. They may be lacking an AWP, but we've already seen that EnVyUS are happy enough to throw down the smokes and just push straight into the face of Dignitas.
Dignitas are still somewhat vulnerable here too. They're starting to stack up a little bit of money, but it's really not anything huge right now. They could probably force up one more time if they were to lose a round, but they would be immediately broken. So if EnVyUS take or pick up here, then they're still going to maintain that lead, and again, one more round away, they can break the members of Dignitas. So that's still in a very good position here for the T side. But if Dignitas end up coming out on top here, this is really going to start the comeback potential and a lead game now for the players here on the CT side. And it'll be traded out here initially, as both Kjærbye and Kyo are going to trade some frags back over here by the wall. Again, EnVyUS playing this very fast, very aggressively on their T side. But look, coming out of CT main, nobody's watching that. NBK, quick on the reaction though, able to find the trade, taking down RUBINO before he can get any further. But MSL sees Happy, doesn't take the shot as of yet, and I don't think Happy's noticed him. So lining up that shot, he's going to be one of the 2 final players left alive. Kenny, though, also in a really great spot to take down Config. These 2 are going to have a standoff, but Config wins it, and now it's just on NBK.
Oh, he'll be scratching his head that Kenny went looking there instead of playing as a 2-man unit. So again, there's a lot of time to play with NBK. He's the kind of guy that in the clutch situations he typically shines. If Config pushes out, he could give his life away needlessly, and there we go. Problem now is MSL, his last player with the AWP, but he goes close range and nearly gets punished. NBK knows he wrecked him with the AK, so he very nearly just pulls out his Glock and tries to finish him off in case that repeat came in. MSL, all he has to do is land this shot, and he will get it done into the head of NBK. Overkill. What a strange round that turns out to be, but Dignitas, again, just about hold on.
If you see it there too, whoever was the last player left alive there, NBK from EnVyUS, actually tries to throw his pistol out to fake a flash, but he just doesn't fall for that at all. So he picks up the headshot really easily and closes things out there. Now this is going to tie it up for Dignitas. And again, EnVyUS have to go for another broken buy here, which probably will end up panning so well with Dignitas having as strong of a buy as they do.
Man, oh man, we thought this would be close, and so far it's delivered, Blue. Both teams exchanging blows, and EnVyUS refusing to tap out fully. Have Tech 9s, but that's all Apex needs. tenzki gets destroyed, and that opens up long nicely. You can now see this over-rotation from Dignitas as they desperately try to regain A. In doing so, though, EnVyUS, all they have to do now is play the waiting game, try and out-mind game Dignitas, force them into a mistake.
Kyo jumping down now, gets control of drop, just barrels outside of the window there, shuts it down. Happy has to act as a human shield so Kyo can stay alive, but then he corrects MSL, finds a trade kill. Now he's got an op if he wants to use it here, and the terrorists full control of the A site. They pressed in through a mid connector and A long as well. This is going to shut Config out. There's nothing he can do, but he is going to challenge the players hunting him down a little bit here because he knows they're going to be chasing him. Apex moving inside of the drop room right now, trying to find him out. He's going to have a little bit more support, and he's just trying to stay alive at this point. As EnVyUS, they've already won the round. And now it's playing the economical game as he knows he's not going to be able to successfully run. The flash is too perfect, though, as EnVyUS just overwhelm him, and they shut him down. No saves at all coming out for Dignitas into this next round.
How much of a body blow is that to Team Dignitas? They're starting to get some momentum through. They're starting to look like they're coming back into this game, and then suddenly one Tech 9 opens things up on long, and you really just can't set up for that. You can't set up for Apex go massive with that weapon. And now, Force Buy with an AWP, a Scout, and 3 CZs. It's doable on a map like Cobblestone. Hold the close angles with the CZ. It'll go golden for you, but MSL goes peeking, and Kenny's there, and he's more than up to the task.
Shutting him down there. First kill goes by the way of Kenny. And again, this is a good primer too, because unfortunately for Dignitas, they don't get any intel at all. But we can see there, tenzki trying to peek out against Kenny. Even takes a first shot and misses, but tenzki still continues to peek it. And that's going to be his own demise now as a second op kill comes out from Kenny. He's almost able to take down NBK, but it's not going to happen. And now they're clearing out this A site, pushing in. They've only got RUBINO to defend it with a CZ. And now he's going to have to try and hold this by the APC, but throwing a lot of nades near him. He's going to get a good angle against Kio, so finds this kill at least. Two very low players sitting near him, but he's going to have to take on Kenny. Does it, though, and takes him down. Gets a second, two on Apex. Now he's working a 1 versus 2. There is going to be a player coming up behind him in just a moment, but he's got the rifle. Tries to finish off the first player, but thankfully Happy arrives just in time to save the day.
Oh, man. You better believe that EnVyUS were clenching those butt cheeks there, Blue. But RUBINO's landing those CZ frags. Things getting too close for comfort. But Dignitas still, last round of the half, full-on CZs with a Deagle in play and EnVyUS looking good. Although it's important to mention, a lot of people, myself included, feel that Cobblestone probably slightly T-sided. And I feel that Dignitas are much stronger on their T-side. So 9-6 scoring, if it does go that way, and then Dignitas can pull this one back, they'll still be in pretty decent position to pull this map back in their favour. EnVyUS though, just playing slow. kioShiMa lands the headshot, and that should be a sign of things to come here on this last round.
Yeah, Dignitas, I mean, we could just take a look at the buy they have going for themselves here. There's not really a whole lot they're going to be able to do to try and stop this. You can see the bounce of aggression now coming out for both MSL and tenzki to try and pick up some kills. RUBINO did have some pretty good luck back over on the B site too, as he picks up a kill, and then tenzki finding one. He's going to fall back inside of suicide steps. He does lose his teammate back out over here on the A push, as he is going to get dropped, as MSL I should say, he is going to end up getting dropped, but now they've got this aggressive push coming out. Kjaerbye moving in is going to be able to find the kill into Happy. Unfortunately for Kjaerbye though, he's now alone, and there's an open A site which EnVyUS is going to take control of.
Another round where you're feeling like EnVyUS should have this in the bag, no problems whatsoever, and it's another 1 versus 2. And whereas last time it was just a CZ on RUBINO, this time it's an AK that is backed up with Kevlar. Kjaerbye comes on through though, and to be fair, even if NBK doesn't pick up that frag, Kenny S is in a very good position. 9-6 the scoreline, but Dignitas, they're still in this one. They win this pistol, they're right back in it.
Yeah, and I would say at least for like higher tier European matches like this one, this is pretty much par of the course for side differentials. A little bit T-sided, yep, but not by a huge margin. 8-6, or 8-7 I should say, and 9-6. Normally, generally what we expect, so kind of going into this one, not really looking at either team having an absolutely huge advantage, as both teams trading blows back and forth pretty evenly for most of that half.
Absolutely agree with you. Hit the nail on the head. This is a pretty standard scoreline. So for those people tuning in that are like, oh my god, EnVyUS now on the CT side, they should be able to cruise this one. It may very well end up happening, but this is definitely within Dignitas' potential. RUBINO executing Happy. He just goes for a quick game of whack-a-mole and receiving end of a battering. So that's a great start for Team Dignitas. They haven't full-on executed onto the site. That's very interesting. So they're keeping their options open.
A lot of players potentially looking at drop as an option now to find their way into it, but NBK trying to hold things back. MSL's got that Tech 9 though, but NBK holding, and MSL, he's going to go out the window, try to wrap around, but he doesn't realize Kenny has snuck inside through the site connector there. He's going to find an easy pick over on towards him, but then Config still making some progress as well. Inside of drop, takes down one, Apex finding the response though, and now Kjaerbye rolling in. He's going to pick up a kill, as does tenzki, and now it's down to that 2 versus 1, only leaving Kio here. He has to rotate all the way from B, and the odds, unfortunately for him, are not going to be looking too great.
Certainly not. But we have seen what that USP is capable of. kioShiMa is definitely up to the task. tenzki misses a lot of his bullets. kioShiMa will land the first one. Just has to spin around, pick himself up the headshot. But, of course, much easier said than done. Kjaerbye goes for the burst fire Glock, knowing that he's very low. And Dignitas do just about pick up that pistol. And we'll be going for a very different approach. So EnVyUS went for 4 SMGs with a scout. Dignitas putting a lot more eggs in the AK-47 basket. I
think overall, I mean, when we just look at the way that EnVyUS played their T-side and how aggressively it went, we can probably expect a more methodical and just more general approach with the way that Dignitas is going to be playing themselves. And EnVyUS extremely aggressive on that T side. We saw it throughout the entire half. This time, Dignitas do have a little bit more rifle play coming into this one. So although they are going to press forward here through mid-connector very quickly, they're not going to just be gung-ho into the site without any info. You can even tell going into that mid-connector, they take it a little bit more slowly. But making good progress now as they head themselves up the ramp, picking up those 2 kills on the way in. They've got a couple bits of resistance coming in there through the AB connector, but Kio picks up a kill and a config, and that's definitely going to hold some of the members of Dignitas back a little bit now.
Yep, very nice opening picks from Dignitas. One will be planted from MSL. Standard spot, nothing out of the ordinary there. And now can EnVyUS reach back onto the site? To be fair, there's probably a pretty good shout here to just save these weapons. They've got the Kevlar, they've got some upgraded pistols. They can still run with this in the next round. And really no hope at defusing this. So maybe just looking for some exit frags, see if the Dignitas go and push in and get greedy. This round is going the way of Dignitas. I was going to say the Danes, but I think RUBINO's Norwegian, so it wouldn't necessarily be accurate. But majority of the Danish.
I think you're correct on that. The Scandinavian.
Yeah, it's probably a solid
I think
Scandinavians.
I think the Danish are part of Scandinavia.
They certainly are.
I've heard it's debated. I don't actually know for sure. But...
Although I know that a lot of the neighbouring countries, like Sweden, may not agree with that statement, but I think Denmark certainly feel they're part of Scandinavia. So, EnVyUS. As I said, they just want to keep those pistols. That's what's happened. Not putting anything behind them. EnVyUS pretty much happy to try and see what they can get done in this round. If some one-taps land from kioShiMa, things can get very messy for Dignitas, that's for sure.
So, EnVyUS now. We'll see where exactly they place their players here on this round. Now it's going to be a quick play for Dignitas once again to try and push themselves. Basically the same route this time, but EnVyUS a lot faster on the rotation. Press their players up towards it. Kjaerbye finding that first frag, getting at them in, and tenzki picking up a second one too. Despite the rotation, not seeing a whole lot of progress made here by the members of EnVyUS. In fact, only one kill at all is picked up here, and that's going to be done by Happy. The rest of them, again, falling back, looking for the save. Kenny's going to stick around here. He wants to fight, but his teammate's long gone, so Kenny's going to drop pretty quickly there to MSL. And Keo now just going to hide in the corner back over here on Broken Wall Plat.
I don't know what I'm enjoying more here, Blue. The CS or the fact you just triggered like the entire chat. The amount of people that are raging in chat right now is real. But guys, relax. It was a joke.
I live in
it's
America.
Okay.
I don't know what goes on in the other part of the world.
We could all be friends. He's American. It's
if anything, you should know because you live in Europe. But
that's true. Plus, I've been to Denmark and all of Scandinavia, so I'm kind of the scrub. Let Blue off though, guys. Free Blue.
I've never been to Scandinavia. I've only been to Germany and Serbia. Are the only, at least like beyond just traveling through countries. I've only been to Germany and Serbia.
Oh, because you're in Serbia for the World Championships,
yeah.
right? I think you were casting there. Mm-hmm. Right, got you.
So
they're so triggered. They're triggered.
Back on topic. EnVyUS now going into the first gun round here for themselves, and Keo actually taking it a little bit lightly, as we can see. He's going to pick up the SMG now and try to play close to Broken Wall, but he doesn't realize he's been flashed. There's players sitting right below him, but they don't see him either. Picks up one kill, quickly traded up by MSL, but then Happy and NBK finding two more back-to-back after this one. They're being pressured back on Broken Wall. The only hope is going to be Config, who pulls out the knife versus Kenny and takes him down with this one. Still working a 1 versus 3. Basically zero utility, so as soon as he throws that smoke out, Happy's going to cut him down, but at least he gets the extra money from the knife kill, I guess.
Oh yeah, money in the bank for Config, and well, you can see Kenny's reaction. He's not too happy about that one. But EnVyUS have picked up around their first on this side. A pretty important one at that. Dignitas will be able to force up another buy, but it's going to be just a Tech 9 on tenzki. We did, however, see the potency of the Tech 9 in the rushes. The running headshots are real on that weapon, so Dignitas going to be shaping up. I'm curious to see if they're going to continue to go for these fairly strat-heavy plays or try and push in aggressively. We saw EnVyUS, of course, who are known for being more reliant on their aim and just ridiculous individual skill, go for very, I was going to say impressive pushes up mid, but they didn't really pay off too well. That being said, though, Kenny is just going to hold down the fort in mid alongside Apex. The bomb has been dropped in a horrible place as well. And Dignitas, well, that's pretty much as worse a start as they could have asked for.
The last three from Dignitas here, trying to make a push and to at the very least get control of that bomb back, but they don't realize EnVyUS have actually given them the control they need now. They'll push back in, retrieve the bomb from the suicide steps, and Kjaerbye watching out for the A-long push. He's going to pick up a frag over there, but Apex is watching now for Kjaerbye to make a push, shuts him down. The final two are going to try to make their way outside mid-connector. This will be very ill-advised, though, as take a look. Kenny sitting right behind him, picks up one, picks up the second, and down goes the round. EnVyUS lead in round score, 9-11 right now.
Certainly do. Dignitas with another force buy. This one I'm not too sure about, honestly. You can see Kjaerbye goes straight in for the AK-47 with Kevlar. It's not a case that this is a half buy. This is straight on full. I don't think RUBINO's going to go for it as well. In fact, they dropped the AK to him, so he's still going to have 3.7k. No, it's not. Okay, now it's just updated. GoTV, the quintessential troll of casters across the world. So force buy, but not a fantastic one for Dignitas. And I just can't see how EnVyUS lose from this one. Unless it's a full-on execute, they can get that first entry frag. That is the key moment here in this round.
And they're all going to be grouped up, making their way into it here. Happy, sitting just outside of it. Apex 2. looking for a way to watch out for a drop push. Not going to see any of that early, and actually, because of how aggressively he comes out, he rotates away, so drop is going to be wide open here at the beginning of it, but Happy picking up those 2 kills with the op, NBK finding a third. Now they've got to deal with the drop pressure, but it doesn't even matter because they've shut down everything else at this point. It's just MSL, and that pressure coming in from drop happens far too late. Now he's working a 1 versus 3. Kenny's going to come in from behind him. He gets a little bit of damage onto it, but Kenny's able to lock into the location of MSL before that smoke fades away, shuts him down. And again here, EnVyUS picking up another round on this CT side. And Dignitas, I think they're finally out of gas for these buys here. They'll have to go for a save round.
Yeah, it's kind of what I was talking about. That first frag was essential. They didn't even get the bomb planted, so not able to keep the economy ticking forward. I'd have almost liked instead for like a half bite to come in there with maybe some Tech 9s and a bit of Kevlar behind it, or PT50, something like that. And they'd be able to buy up in this round as well. So I feel like Dignitas maybe just missed out on a little bit of a trick there. And now EnVyUS have a real chance to start to get that lead gap further in their favor. And just keep building that foundation to win this map from. And it's looking good for them right now. I can't see how Dignitas execute now. They're going to just look for some mistakes from EnVyUS. EnVyUS playing this one passively, they're playing this one perfectly.
RUBINO actually finds a way inside of drop because Kenny messes up a little bit there and tries to throw a nade back up. So him and MSL are going to use this to try and make some progress. Unfortunately, Kjærbye ends up going down, and that's the bomb being taken control of here too. But tenzki picking up an additional kill over here onto Apex, trying to loop it back around, and RUBINO moving in. They have no clue that he's jumped outside of this window, so he's going to be able to pick up an additional frag. We did see Config finding that one in a Keo, brought into an even traded situation, 2 versus 2, and they've got the bomb back. And all this with 50 seconds left on the clock, there's still plenty of time left. Dignitas, I think they're going to go to drop, and they can actually work this into the A site if they want to, which they may just choose to do, but no, tenzki lining up an additional frag here. Happy tries to get aggressive, big mistake from him, and now Kenny looking to clutch this with 5 HP, but that's not going to be possible. They have a dual spray lineup, and they just wait for him to come inside. Perfectly played by Dignitas, and they're going to take the round.
I simply cannot believe that Dignitas just won that round. It started perfectly. EnVyUS play passively. keniS gets the first frag as they jump out a drop zone, and then suddenly everything shifts in Dignitas' favor. And remember, that was pretty much a full-on eco. They only had pistols coming into that, no Kevlar whatsoever. Unbelievable. And now EnVyUS, they're against the ropes, and just when I thought they're going to start to take away and potentially take us to 16 rounds, if they lose this, Dignitas should be at 12-12.
EnVyUS again now starting to get a little bit nervous here as they are not in necessarily a secure position just as of yet here. Dignitas taking their game very, very slowly here too on that T side. Trying to look for a way to forge themselves into either of these sites, not committing to one of them just as of yet, and making a lot of noise over here towards A to keep the rotations in this area. But now we can see the drop actually begins. MSL, he's going to press his way in. No one resisting that from the side of EnVyUS. The only player that would have done so was Happy, but he's pushed himself outside of the window to watch out for a maneuver, probably from Config in case he decides to go for this again. Not going to be the case though, and there are other players that were over towards A are now going to shift here to make the play at B as well.
Pushing in ever so slowly though. All 10 players still alive. 45 seconds on the timer. kioShiMa's there with the deagle, but the flashbang lands in his face. He can't afford to speak out just yet. Finally lands the first eagle shot. He gets straight up from RUBINO, and now Happy's trying to hold it down from the rock. Problem is he's been spotted, and that bomb is now transitioning its way towards the B side. Apex lands the next one, and there's a spray down from Happy, who's still alive and kicking, and pretty healthy at that. keniS has his back with the AWP. 20 seconds to go. The bomb in the hands of tenzki. Goes for the cheeky peek. Can't get anything done. Happy will get picked off into the head. So this is going to be the bomb plant. And now the retake from keniS with an AWP is going to be a pretty rough one if tenzki just holds his ground.
tenzki, such a ballsy play right now. The problem is he's got to take Kenny, but I think he's seen the barrel. He can see that peeking out if he notices it. Kenny doesn't realize he's giving him all the intel. He could definitely see it now. He's going to notice him, and he shuts it down. Gets the intel on a Kenny's push. Shuts it out, and what a clutch from tenzki to once again keep Dignitas in this game, and just one more round away from tying it up.
Unreal. Beautiful frame of mind from tenzki to go for the repeat, realizing that he was at a disadvantage play there. And as you said, exactly right, Blue. He saw the barrel of the gun sticking through the wall. No point for him to back away. He knew that kill was his, unless Kenny pulls off the most ridiculous no-scope ever. And EnVyUS looking like they are potentially going to lose another round here. Dignitas looking strong. Just the Tech 9 and Kjærbye, but of course when you look at EnVyUS's economy and their guns, simply doesn't matter.
One thing you really have to attest to as well was the way that tenzki played that. He had no problem at all getting aggressive against the fact that there was an opper steering him down and another player with a rifle. But we'll talk more about that in a second because, again, the CTs on EnVyUS try to play this aggressively. They're going to try to hold, and it's the boiler inside of mid-connector right now. They're doing it, too. They've got a 3 versus 2 set up. The rest of Dignitas, they've now got to run away. They'll smoke it off for safety. They do have control of the site connector, so RUBINO can shut these players down, but that's a great start from EnVyUS. And look at this. Happy shuts out RUBINO in a 1 versus 1. He still only has a pistol, so it's down to MSL once again to clutch this out in a 1 versus 3.
I swear this game's like opposite world today. Every time you think that a team can't possibly have a chance, boom, they just somehow pull it off. This is going to be brutal for Dignitas. A huge economic spike if they lose this round. But MSL is still there, alive and kicking. He's about to get pushed from Happy. Lands the shot, and EnVyUS will eco their way to a 13th round. And that's got a sting for Dignitas. You can see their economy's not great. Do they go for the force, or do they just play at the 14-11 deficit, or do they just eco? These are all possible points here. They could just straight up eco EnVyUS again. We've seen it before. I'm sure we'll see it again this Best of 3.
It's going to be a pretty light round here. Will be the eco, as you were predicting before, from Dignitas this time. Fairly light investment for most of these players. We do have a couple going for their upgraded pistols along with armor sitting behind it, but most just take the upgraded pistol. They started off well, though, as Kenny's going to overpeak this one, but the trade immediately comes in there from Apex, and Apex still sitting on top of that APC to challenge it, finally ducking away from it now that the A-long pressure is moving itself in, but Kjærbye, he's going to pick up that frag anyway onto Apex. More moving in. MSL picking up the op, picking up an additional kill, and then RUBINO shuts out NBK on balcony, just down to Kio, and he's got a 1 versus 4, and most of the players on Dignitas have now upgraded to rifles too. That was a bit of a mistake by MSL though, as he does again peek the rifle through the barrels there. What? Oh, finding a second one on RUBINO. Hold on, this round's not over yet. He's gonna push in. He's gotta check to his left though, as there is gonna be a peek, and he gets it. But thankfully, Kjærbye saves it before anything else goes wrong, and Dignitas just barely scavenged that again at the end of the round.
But Dignitas again, eco EnVyUS. What is going on? I have no idea. EnVyUS with full weapons. Dignitas are a solid team, but EnVyUS, man, they're one of the best teams in the world. Most people would agree with this. It's unbelievable to see them consistently get ecoed out this way. Unreal plays, and now Dignitas are in a position where they're trying to anti-eco. And EnVyUS have Apex just lurking there with the knife, trying to try and spot any players having that quick peek. And now they're going to be backing, and by looks of things, stacking on that B side. No Deagles in play, but a couple 5.7s and P250s with that HE as well and Kenny.
Dignitas, look at this, how slowly they're playing this now, because they're expecting some kind of setup like we've had coming into the previous couple of rounds. We've been mollying down there in the drop just to make sure it's completely safe. But after they find this initial opener, they're actually going to shift towards A, which is very smart, because obviously you can just see the setup from EnVyUS right now. They tried to set a trap on B, hoping they were going to take the bait and roll right into that site, but now they're going to walk into A, and there's no one there to defend it for the time being. And also, it doesn't look like anybody from EnVyUS is going to be rotating anytime soon, despite how slowly Dignitas are playing this.
I can totally accept that, though, the way this game's gone. Like, you can't take for granted any rounds, even when the EnVyUS are in a pistol. You have to still be very careful, throw down those smokes, throw down flashes, make sure that you execute onto the sites and have every single corner locked down. EnVyUS may again just try and tap out of this round and just keep these upgraded pistols and not really go for this one too much, or maybe that's just not the case. Going to see what they can get done here. kioShiMa takes point, he's going to push into the hut. Randomly lands a player. That may have been config on the other side of the wall. He's now down to just 3 HP. A bullet will finish him off from anybody. RUBINO's taking damage through the doors. He's going to exchange back. Doesn't land a frag, but this round is going to go the way of Dignitas. EnVyUS do not have the explosive capabilities to push onto the site from here. In actual fact, they are going to lose the majority of those pistols as well. But they're pretty cheap pistols. They'll be okay to buy next round.
It's not a huge loss. So Apex trying to line up stuff outside of mid-connector here, but I think they know he's outside, so in comes the firing squad, and that takes down Apex. No saves at all here for EnVyUS, but they're going to go for their buys anyway, of course, with this being one of the very crucial rounds. They do want to make sure that they keep the lead in their power. Unfortunately, this buy is going to be downgraded to some degree on quite a few of these players having to go for the FAMAS upgrades, but this does leave them with a decent amount of utility as well. The one thing they are missing is Molly, so in case Dignitas try to get aggressive again, like we saw in that last half a couple of times too, they're not really going to have a whole lot to stop this.
Yeah, no, especially on a map like Cobblestone, you really do need those extra smokes. You need the extra flashes as well, because it's such a vast map. It takes a long time to rotate from one site to the other, so retakes are a very probable situation to come in, but you do see a distinct lack of defuse kits for EnVyUS. So if a site is taken cleanly from Dignitas, things could get extremely worrisome for EnVyUS. But a very slow round again. Dignitas going to be playing this one as MSL comes in, catches NBK as he throws out the smoke, and will secure that kill. There's drop zone given across to Team Dignitas, and although Apex does come in for the close angle, that's a lot of real estate that's just been picked up.
Yeah, Apex trying to resist again to not let them get control of the site connector itself, but he's got to be very careful of this now, because it looks like Team Dignitas are actually going to go for the crunch, as they will try to move those players outside of it, but MSL's been smoked out, so he's kind of stuck in here. He's in jail for the time being. Moving outside of it would be a very, very risky move, but he's going to take it anyway. Looking for the lineup on Happy, and oh, great reaction from Happy. Just barely shuts him down. Now RUBINO looking for an entry outside of mid-connector. He's going to be able to find it, but very heavy cost to his own life, and Kenny's going to be able to finish him off there by tossing a nade in. That leaves RUBINO still very low at 5 HP. He gets finished off. Happy moving in, cuts down another one, and then Kenny to finish it off by eliminating Kjaerbye.
What a hold that is from EnVyUS. After that first frag comes down in drop zone, I honestly feared the worst for them, but they somehow claw it back, show why they're such a force to be reckoned with. Again, Dignitas have enough funds to get AKs. I was curious there if we're going to see an open play. There was about 8k on Kjaerbye before he started to buy. He goes for the AK-47 as well. So Dignitas just content to keep flashing and smoking their way to victory here. EnVyUS only have a Mag 7 on NBK, but it is a weapon that he will use a lot, in the likes of Mirage, which we could see coming up later over on that B side. So very familiar with the weapon is NBK. But again, on paper, you'd say here, Blue, that Dignitas certainly have the better weapons and the more utility to play with.
The problem is going to be drop again, because we've seen the members of EnVyUS give away drop controls so often here. NBK, I thought he was going to play a more active role in defending it, but still sitting outside of it once again. So this Mag 7, depending on the position he plays this from, could become detrimental, depending on how the broken wall push goes as well. But they get it for free once again now, so they're going to move about 2 to 3 players in here to try to use this as a pushing angle into the B site.
Yeah, you see a lot of teams when they're kind of down and out in terms of weaponry will play more passive, give up drop zone. It's very hard to hold on to, but the problem is so is platform, and that's where kioShiMa's just been picked off. Happy trying to come back on the side and see what he can do. He did pick up a frag. Apex is there. It's a 3-on-2, but Apex is low. He's been spotted and frag. Kenny S, last remaining CT, the last hope is a 28.
They have no clue. He's flanking them right now.
Oh, they really stack up from there's the first frag. He's look for the second, but tenzki lands the headshot right down to the wire again. I'd be interested to see how many of these rounds have gone down to 1v1s. It feels like almost every round has at this point.
So it's coming down to the past couple of rounds here. Either going to be an outright victory for one of these guys, or we'll go to the tied 15-15. EnVyUS are out of money, though. It's going to be upgraded pistols again, but this doesn't mean we can't see them win it, as we've had at least 2 to 3, if not even more than this eco rounds coming off so far, at least in this half. So we'll have to see just what the members of EnVyUS can do. They're not going to set up the trap inside of mid-connector here once again. Just playing it fairly normally at the beginning of this one. But look at all the nades they've thrown in. Doing so much damage. Apex and Kenny even picking up 2 kills with this one too. And Kenny again with the rifle. He absolutely needs to do this. Picking up MSL here, so that's 2 kills gone by them. They're trying to finish off Kjaerbye, but Kenny has to be extremely cautious with this rifle. If he overpeaks too much and drops that, his team doesn't really have any big arsenal for the rest of this play.
It's a beautiful set play as well from EnVyUS, a team that aren't necessarily known for their set plays. As a Molotov flash, then had a player pop out of danger. It works so well. It gave EnVyUS the player advantage early on this round, but as you correctly said, only one assault rifle in play on Kenny S. Happy's playing the close range as my GoTV lags, and Happy very nearly misses his chance, but he will pick up the frag, and now that funnels Dignitas into a very one-dimensional approach. They line up and EnVyUS knock them down with ease. Dignitas now, simply put, have to win this round, or EnVyUS will pick up the first map. Are we going to overtime, Blue?
Ecos! Again, are the name of the game.
Yeah. Is that a bad sign for EnVyUS then? The way this game's gone so far.
I mean, Dignitas has 2 rifles, so that technically takes it out of the range of being an eco and more into a mid-buy, so no. I'll say no to that one. Because there's some sort of magic that's allowing these teams to take eco rounds, and I wouldn't technically consider this an eco round.
That's very true. They do have 2 assault rifles. A distinct lack of grenades, though. That's kind of the worrying sign for me on Dignitas, so they're going to just have to go for those raw entries. If they don't land them, they're down and out.
So, from Dignitas, we'll have to try and work a miracle here to take this into OT. EnVyUS are back up. Fully armed to the teeth once again here. We'll try to work something. It's going to go directly into that B site. They're hoping to get good amounts of drop control, but take a look at Happy now, too. As we go over to his perspective. Again, not actively defending drop, but they do hear the players moving down, so they're going to have to line up. Happy's flash, but they don't check the corner. He's going to pick up 1, but it's clotheslined by Config as he attempts to re-enter. They don't expect 2 to be down there. Nonetheless, though, more kills coming out from the side of EnVyUS as NBK holding just outside of drop. He's going to be able to pick up an additional frag. RUBINO responds by dropping Kyo, but that's going to be the end of it. A great hold for the members of EnVyUS, and they'll take the first map just barely, 16-14 in their favor.
Couldn't have asked for a better first map, could we, Blue? That was beautiful CS from both teams, back and forth. It was very hard to call right up until the bitter end, but EnVyUS slightly edging it out. I believe that was their choice of map. So next up is Train, a map that both teams again are pretty solid on. It's going to be very interesting to see if maybe Dignitas can take us into Mirage.
And we'll be right back with that, guys, here in just a few minutes. Stick around for more of EnVyUS versus Dignitas here at the StarLadder Star Series in just a few moments.